Okay, guys, today I'm here with Mariah May, the Glamour. She'll be facing Mina Shirakawa at AEW Winter Is Coming on December 11th. It's the AEW Women's World Champion. She's been champion for over 100 days, seventh longest reign in company history, if we're counting. How do you feel?
I mean, I feel amazing. I'm the Glamour. I've been champion for over 100 days, as you said, and I get to wrestle my dearest friend, Mina Shirakawa, in on Wednesday, so very, very soon. And whenever we get in the ring, it's always a very good match, and I think she'll bring out the best in me. I know I'll bring out the best in her, so I'm very excited.
From stardom to now, do you ever really think your guys' paths would cross again? Like, how does it feel for it to not be full circle, but just to kind of come around again?
I never really thought about it. I mean, Mina is my truest friend, and we had such a special relationship in Stardom because obviously you can probably tell by my accent I'm British. So moving to Japan and kind of living there alone, you become very close with the people that you work with, especially Mina and I. We were in a tag team, we were tag champions in Stardom, we were in a faction together. So we were very, very close and we shared a special bond. And I never imagined when I went to AEW that Mina would actually follow me to AEW and I remember us sitting there around the time of Forbidden Door and talking about how crazy it was because she wrestled Toni Storm, and at the time that was my mentor, and now Toni Storm is dead, and I am the world champion. But we were saying how crazy it is that we kind of so soon ended up crossing paths and in such a big way. And once I became champion, for me, it was a really big thing to get her to come back because she is one of my greatest opponents, and I think I'm looking for competition, and I think Mina is that competition.
Have you kind of read the internet perception around this storyline in general? Most people right now are saying that this is like easily the best storyline in AEW. It's probably up there in the top of all of wrestling. You guys got champagne bottles, smearing blood, fake hitting, don't know what's coming. Um, how does it feel to be a star in one of the biggest angles in all the business?
I mean, naturally, I'm the Glamour. Of course I am. But I try not to read the internet because I don't think it's good to do. I don't think it's a healthy thing to do if you are an artist or you're an entertainer and you're producing things. Everyone's going to have a lot of different opinions. One day, you're the favorite, and the next day you're the worst person alive and you should quit. So I never take it to heart too much, whatever's on there. And I think it's healthy not to read it. I know just from obviously doing interviews like this and just general perception, talking to people I work with, that the storylines have been really well received, and that's really good to hear. And it's really good in AEW, which we're only in our fifth year as a company, to kind of show that women, we can be the main event, we are the focal point, and no matter if we had 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, we are going to be the talking point of that show. And I do feel like Mina and I have produced the best and the most exciting storyline in a short amount of time in short interviews. Helps that I cracked a bowl over her head, but that's one thing about me. I am gonna take the spotlight. I'm gonna take the attention, and I don't need 20 minutes like the guys. I can do it in two. So it's great to hear that. I'm not surprised. I think we have a fantastic women's division, and anytime we get a chance, we take over.
And another thing too is like, so you're so young in the game, and like you said, the storyline has been short, but you guys have filled it with a lot of moments. You're kind of already at the top of wrestling. You can't really get much higher than this. And you're only 26, I think, right?
Yes.
So you have a lot more left in your career,
Yes.
obviously. Is there like an ultimate accomplishment that you strive for in the industry? And do you think that this match here is could be legacy defining for you?
I definitely do. I think, there's been some very important matches in my career. My match against Toni Storm, my match against Willow Nightingale, my no disqualification match against Anna. I know my match against Mina is going to be one of those, amazing matches that makes people feel excited about wrestling, women's wrestling to be specific, but wrestling in general. But for me, I think I couldn't have dreamt up a better moment in my career than winning the world championship against Toni Storm in such a huge storyline that really captivated people in my hometown. There isn't, all in, there isn't anything bigger than that. So
Yeah,
it
it's
is a
huge.
bit of a tough one for me. And I think you've seen that on my reign where I've said, I need competition. I need something exciting. I feel like I've completed it. I came in my rookie year and I just took over. So that's one of the reasons I wanted Mina to come back, and I wanted a competition, and I wanted somebody to make me excited to go to work and produce something different. And you said I am 26. That's I kind of started wrestling young, so when you do, you kind of find that you get to your mid 20s and you're like, oh, I completed it. But for me, it's just, AEW didn't exist 5 years ago, and it came in and it changed the game. So you don't know in the next few years what else as a company we might do and create. Like I've never won the TBS championship. There might be another championship. I won the Owen Hart tournament. There might be another tournament. And for me as well, it's not just about titles and tournaments. It's about stories, and it's about things that people will remember. You're always going to remember me stabbing Toni Storm in the head with a shoe. You're
Yeah.
always going to remember me and Mina's friendship and storylines. So I'm just looking to spend the next however many years creating moments that people are going to remember and kind of making sure that women's wrestling is perceived the same as men's wrestling, because I think we're the best part of the show.
And kind of touching on those small moments or big moments that you say really make up the storylines, let's jump into a little bit of character work. So obviously, like one thing that people notice about Mariah May in the ring, you guys do this nice over top camera shot of you laying in the ring. We see that happen a lot. What was kind of the inspiration behind that? Is that like something where you're like, oh, it's glamorous, so let's add some more like glamour things to it? Or what are some of your thinkings
Well,
behind
that
that?
particular angle was totally inspired by Toni Storm. I came into AEW and learned and kind of was completely modeled after Toni Storm. And, I kept her finishing move because Toni has retired. God rest her soul. So I now have her finishing move, and such a great angle. I think also looks better on me, a younger, better model. So that's definitely what inspired that shot. But I do think a lot of the things I do, I am called the Glamour. So I try and add that into wrestling. And I think it really works with me because my style is so hard hitting. So it's kind of a nice juxtaposition and shocks people that I look and dress and act the way that I do, like a pop star. But when I'm in the ring, I'll challenge you.
And let's say Mariah May had an unlimited budget to create the most grandiose entrance she ever could for Winter Is Coming. What do you think that would look like?
Mariah May does have a grandiose budget. I'm the Glamour and the world champion, so I get whatever I want. I also don't need a lot of thrills because I look the way that I look, but I do have a very nice new costume for Winter Is Coming. I got it just for Mina, just to make this special. So you're going to see something very special on Wednesday. My entrance, I kind of have a new entrance that I debuted at Full Gear, which regrettably the moment was soured when my best friend speared me off the stage into tables, but there is going to be a slightly new entrance. And I do have a few ideas I've always had for fun entrances. So I don't want to say because I'm hoping you'll see them down the line, but they're the kind of thing that's going to take a little bit of work and planning. And I've already talked to kind of the production because we have an amazing production team at AEW. So I've talked to them about it. So maybe we'll see it like for a special pay-per-view or something. But yeah, you're gonna see a nice entrance when it is coming, a new costume.
And for people that really pay attention to your career in depth, they notice that you're kind of one of the few modern wrestlers these days that is always like changing up your moveset, tweaking things, taking things out, adding things. Personally, for me, you have one of my favorite headbutts in wrestling. I think your headbutts are like they're unreal. You got the hanging DDT. You got really good back suplexes. When do you kind of know when it's time to add or take away from your bag of tricks?
For me, I think that's always been a struggle for me, and I think as you're coming off being a wrestler, you struggle on different things. And for me, it was always my move set because I am pretty tall. I'm like 5'8", but I'm not exactly like China.
Yeah.
So, I could do some power moves, but not to everyone. So it was kind of about finding this like hybrid style that really showed off my attributes because, I am very tall, I have long legs. So what can I do? And for me, being in Japan was a really big turning point for me. Like my drop kicks, I drilled them at the dojo so many times and they work and they look great. So that's something that I like to use because I feel like it suits me. And the back suplex you talk about in the bridge, that all comes from just reps in Japan. I had almost 100 matches. So I think for me, I always think you should change and adapt. Sometimes I'll watch like old wrestling. I love the Super Junior stuff, and I think that suits me because it's fast, but there's also power in it. And I'm really fast, so I think that's what works for me. But I think it's just about like watching wrestling and also sometimes when you work with different people and I'm trying to think, okay, how can I counter the things that they do and make this exciting and kind of out wrestle them, that's kind of where you might spark an idea for like a move. And sometimes it works and it's something you might keep, and sometimes it's, okay, we'll retire that move. Like we don't need to see that one again.
Is there anyone in particular you could think of?
Um, Gosh, when I was on the indies, like if you watch my, sometimes I watch my matches and I do things and I'm like, why did you ever do that? There's just a lot of different things I did. I think I retired the code breaker because I used to do a springboard code breaker and a girl kind of headbutted me in the face and fractured
Mhm.
my nose. And I've never done a code breaker again.
Yeah.
I just won't do it.
Watch out, Mina. And continuing with that theme, so Renee Paquette, she's been pretty involved in the storyline. She got up and walked out on you. But outside of her being involved in things, I think people are also realizing how good your promo work has been. What do you kind of tap into Unleash like that? And is the Mariah May we see on TV the Mariah May we see off of TV?
I think it's a part of me. I think wrestling is the best or the worst part of you amplified and made into something bigger. I think that's how you find what works. I mean, I work with RJ City, who's an incredible writer. And I think him understanding me and what I'm good at and putting a spotlight on that instead of trying to make you something you're not has been a huge part of it. Because sometimes I'll ask him things and he's like, "Well, just be yourself." And I don't know how to take that because I feel like my character is the worst person alive. But yeah, I think it's just about finding something you believe in and something you're passionate about or you think you can make work, and really owning that and finding that lane. And certainly for me, I like to take inspiration from movies and TV shows and things that aren't wrestling. I don't want to copy what we've already done in wrestling because we've seen it. Even if it was 10, 20 years ago, we've seen that. And I don't think that's wrong, and I think it's very hard to find things that haven't already been done, but I definitely try to find outside inspiration, even down to like my costumes and everything like that. I don't want to copy what I've already seen. I want to try and find something, a new lane and something different. And I also used to do acting and do theater, so I think that kind of helps bring a different edge into things. And I think I've also had the privilege of working with some very talented women. As much as I hate to say it, Toni Storm is a starlet, even if she believes that a little bit too much. And being able to kind of bounce off of that energy has been able to create these storylines.
It's so funny because you keep taking me exactly where I'm going next. You're talking about, you know, being innovative, kind of trying to freshen up new things in wrestling. So I came up with a little game. It's called the May Way or Mayday. So if it's the May Way, this is something in the wrestling industry that Mariah May approves. If it's Mayday, this is maybe a trend that she might want to see go away.
Okay.
Okay, so Mayway or Mayday wearing sneakers in the ring.
Mayday.
Mayday. Would you could you ever see an opportunity where you would do that?
I don't think it suits me, so that's why I'm saying Mayday. But there are certain like Nikki Bella and stuff that they were like tomboys, sporty girls, so I could see it with their looks. Whereas my specific looks, I like to almost look like I'm wearing like thigh-high boots because
Yeah,
I'm glamorous.
yeah.
That being said, I do have like one pair of sneakers that are gorgeous, but I don't know if I could wrestle in them. I have like my amateur boots, which I've had for like years, and I can't let them go because I just feel like they're the only shoes I can really wrestle in. So it's
I
it's a
thought you were
soft
about to
it's a
talk
soft
about the
Mayday.
infamous Air Jordans. I really thought
Yeah.
they were about to come up. Okay, Mayway or Mayday attaching garter belts on your shorts.
Mayway.
Mayway.
Yeah, I do that all the time, and now everybody does
I was, well, there's a reason why it was on there. There's a reason why it was included. I
it.
was wondering, does she notice that? And is she kind of tired of people taking her stuff? But okay, we'll see.
No, I
All
think
right.
it's cute.
All right. Mayway or Mayday, superhero themed gear.
Mm, for me, it's a bit of a Mayday, but there are some people who have done it, and it's very good.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who have done it, and it's It looks like it's from like a store.
Yeah.
It's from Spirit Halloween or something. So
And the last Mayway or Mayday, the excessive use of super kicks in a match.
Mayday.
Mayday. Yeah,
I
we're
don't think
tired.
I've ever done a super kick in my life. So
Again, Mina, watch out. She's got a deep bag. All right, so now let's get into UK. Obviously, we know that's where you're from. Every single person I've interviewed for AEW so far, I've asked them about wrestling Mount Rushmore from their city. But be it that, the UK is so gigantic, it would really be hard to do that. Um, who are some names that stand out to you, all-time greats? If you can specify London specifically, we can get into that. But if not, we can go UK in general. Who do you got?
I don't really think there's that many, so they're lucky that I'm from London, so people can actually have someone to aspire to. For me, it was really Toni Storm. That's why I went to Stardom. That's why I came to AEW. She was the best, and that's why I followed her, learned every single thing about her, got her to teach me everything, and then took it all away from her. And now that's why in a year I am the world champion because of Toni Storm.
And this is the part where you might want to, we'll see. But you're an Arsenal fan. I'm
Yes.
sure you can guess what club I'm a fan of.
Is it Tottenham?
It is.
Okay, well, it was lovely to meet you. This interview's been great.
So one thing that I'm curious about for Arsenal is there's a lot of media publications and pundits, and they're saying that they're confident that Liverpool's on top of the league because if Man City was up there, it'd be less of a chance for them to kind of ruin things to see, their team soar to the top. As an Arsenal fan, are you more afraid of Liverpool or Man City?
I'm not afraid of anybody because I'm Mariah May, so I'm not. In terms of the game, I mean, honestly, I feel like I would just prefer it to be Liverpool because I feel like Man City is a completely bought club and
Mm.
it's just not fun. It's not fair. So I would prefer it to be Liverpool, but I don't like to get too into soccer because if you think wrestling fans, that's a thing, a minefield. So I'm scared of soccer accounts. If I ever open Twitter and I see somebody with like Ronaldo or something as a profile picture, I'm out of there. Like I'm scared of them. But yeah, I just want Arsenal to win a trophy. It's been a while.
And let's get into our second and last game. This is mate or states. So you're gonna pick which version you prefer, the UK or US?
Okay, wait, so it's mate or state?
Mate or
Okay,
states? Yes.
okay,
Okay. So US or UK version of The Office?
state for sure.
Interesting.
You don't agree?
I'm not gonna say nothing. I think they're gonna kill you at home for that.
Really?
I think so.
Oh.
I think so. I don't know. We'll see what happens. UK pub or US bar?
Ooh, that's tough. Like I don't discriminate. I enjoy both. Like a pub is great. Like it's just like after work if you want to go to the pub, the vibes are great. But like if you want to get a little dressed up and go to a nice little like martini bar, I think America has better bars.
Mm.
But obviously the UK we hold it down with the pub. So I couldn't possibly choose.
This may be a layup, but UK or US football?
You know what? If you'd asked me this like 3, 4 months ago, I would have been like, for sure, I prefer like mate football, like British football. But I've been trying to learn about American football, and I will say, like I love soccer, but American football is there's so much more to it. Like the game is so extensive. There's so many rules, but it's very exciting. So I do enjoy both,
Oh
even
my
though I don't
God.
100% understand American football still. Still confused.
You're about to have those Ronaldo accounts typing 2,000 words per second now. UK reality television or US?
UK, mate. It's
Is
so
that
trashy.
because of Love Island?
The first few seasons of Love Island, I can't deal with it now, but the first few seasons, like the only way is Essex, all that kind of stuff was very, very funny growing up.
And UK food versus US food.
US food,
Um,
state.
are there any US dishes on your wish list still that you haven't tried?
I just want to make sure I hit up all the like like IHOP and stuff, like all the stuff we hear about in the UK that's just like basic for America, but like you always hear about them. I'm trying to make sure I go to all of them. I think I'm almost there. I'm trying to like Denny's and everything, make sure I go to all of them. But the one thing I will say I think the UK has an edge on is I prefer British chocolate. There's
Mm.
no chocolate in America that I've found that I actually like, which is probably a good thing given that I am a wrestler and an athlete, but I have such a sweet tooth, and there's no chocolate here that I truly love. So that's the only thing I miss. But in general, I think American food is bigger and better.
So even the Cadbury here tastes different than there.
It's not the same
Mm.
at all. It's not even the Kinder's not, nothing is the same.
Damn.
And it's like when my friend came to visit, she brought me like a big, like the British Cadbury's, and I was like, I didn't miss it that much until I ate it.
That is crazy.
I
And
try to bring it back with me on the plane, and then I end up eating it on the plane ride because I just know it's there, and I'm like, when you're hungry on an
yeah.
airplane too, and I'm like, I need that.
And are there any US dishes that you did have and the hype just wasn't there?
I think like everyone always like in the UK was like, oh, IHOP and Denny's and all these places, and I actually went, and they're fine, but I'm like, it's not that. I don't. It's not
Yeah.
that crazy. I don't get
Yeah.
it. I'm not that it's supposed to be delicious, but I thought it'd be like wild, and it just
Hmm.
wasn't. It was just like this is just like a food. It's just a food place.
Just
But
definitely a food place.
no, I really do like the food here. It's very good.
And the last question for the glamour. What is one question you always want a journalist to ask you, but it never comes up in an interview?
I mean, you guys are pretty. You guys cover all bases, so I don't know. And you asked some good stuff today. I like the games. I wish, you know what? I wish people would play more of these games because they're pretty fun and they make you think fast. So
Mariah
if you're
May
listening,
wishes more
journalists,
journalists were like this guy.
I want to play games. I'm bored. Let me play games.
She wants to play games, guys. But it will not be a game at AEW Winter Is Coming. December 11th. Mariah May, thank you for your time. Go defend your
Oh,
championship, win that, and we will see you again.
thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. Go Tottenham.
Bye. No!